All right, guys, welcome to this additional Q&A for sitepop. I know there's a lot of stuff been going on. I do remind you, this is the SEO world, so things change. This is a very shifting environment. So anyway, like I had told you, we'll be doing more of these Q&As, keep you guys up to speed, answer all of your questions, and make sure that you are doing what you need to do to get results. We have got some phenomenal results. Chris did a back-end look back at the database to see, who was ranking and who had moved the most, and we were actually quite shocked at what we saw. Now, I know there's some of you that still haven't got movement yet, or it's just starting, or it's very slow, but a lot of people have gotten some really great movement on this. So I'm going to talk about that. The big thing, this is the thing, every time we turn around, we are getting swords thrown at us in the SEO world. I've been doing this for a long time. Some of you might just be getting started in this, so this might be a new kind of game for you. And this is the norm. This is not an anomaly. This is the norm. It just seems like this time the swords are getting thrown at us from Apple. Believe it or not, we never in a million years did I think that Apple would be such a pain in the ass to deal with, to create an app for. But for those of you that don't know, we sent an email out earlier this week letting you know where we were at with the Apple app. It took us a long time, a lot of development to get that thing into play. And now that it's been in play for a very short time, Apple has changed it again. And this time we've just decided it's not worth our effort to keep up with them. They clearly do not want any kind of apps running on their phones that have continuous access. That's not just us. They're not just targeting us. We were not singled out by this. This is a cross-platform thing with Apple, where if the app is not active for 10 minutes, it gets shut down. This includes Facebook. So if you had Facebook where it would give you notifications and stuff, if it stops listening, if the app is not open and being used within 10 minutes, Apple is turning it off. So that doesn't do us any good. We need the app running all day long. So anyway, we have abandoned that. Unless they change, we can come back. But the way it is, it really just doesn't make sense for us to continue that. In looking at the stats, this really surprised me. I thought we had a lot more iOS users out there. It was only 5%. So a lot of people freaked out thinking that, our network now got destroyed. It was only 5% of the network, so it was not any kind of a big hit on it. Anyway, if you've got customers, this is another thing. I've fielded a lot of calls and a lot of support tickets about this. The fact that you've got customers that are on iPhone and they don't have Android and all this, and the world is, coming apart. Look, you can get an Android device at any Target or Walmart store for under 50 bucks. Now, if it's not worth putting a little bit of an investment into this, SEO costs money. You guys with the agency level, you're getting these projects for $4 a month. That is absolutely ridiculous for you to not be able to buy a phone to run this thing on. It's crazy if people are paying you money to do SEO for you. There's nothing else out there that gives you what we're giving you for this. So please, please set aside the world is falling, the sky is crashing, whatever. This is not a big deal. Just run the stuff on Android devices or laptops, desktops. The Windows 10 works great. The Mac version still works fine. Most of our network is the Android and the Windows. When like I said earlier, I was kind of shocked to find out that only 5% of the devices in our entire network were the iOS devices. So Android is the norm. There's a lot of people out there with them. and like I said, if you are on Apple, just go to your local Walmart or Target and pick some of these things up. They're cheap. I've seen them anywhere from 20 bucks to 50 bucks right off the shelf. They got a 30-day warranty, money back policy with Target and Walmart. So if it doesn't work for any reason, which I don't see why it would not at this point, those are new devices you're buying from the store. They're brand new. So they're latest and greatest. So don't see any reason why they wouldn't. You do not need an active data plan on there. You can connect them to Wi-Fi. So let's say you get a client and they don't have any Android devices. They don't have any Windows devices. All you have to do is just go buy some of these things, preload it, pre-configure it, ship it to your customer and tell them to connect it to their Wi-Fi and leave it plugged in the corner of their office somewhere. And that's it. It's pretty easy stuff. Okay, here comes a question. Is there a risk of other systems following Apple? I don't think so. This is not a normal thing. Apple is just a freak. They're not business oriented. They never have been. They were built around art and style, and business was a third-party seat in the van. So Android is, that's Google. They're built for business. So I don't think that that's going to happen. We've been running this platform on Windows devices for almost, well, actually over 10 years right now. We've successfully run it on the Windows platform. The older versions are all gone. You guys probably remember we had Rainmaker. That was our Windows device. It ran since like 2008. And that was the predecessor to this. This is just the newest, latest, and greatest. And unfortunately, for the technology that we are on right now, we have to use the latest and greatest, like Windows 7. The older versions of Windows, we're not compatible with them. The older devices, we're just not compatible with them because of what we're having to do with our programming. So I don't see the issue of us running into this kind of thing with the other platforms. I think it's just Apple. Maybe at some point they will pull their heads out of their butts and figure out that, hey, this is really about the users. We should do what the users want, and they'll lift that restriction, and then we can go back and open it back up. But I got to tell you right now, if I would have known, everybody was yelling at us saying, you got to have iOS, you got to support Apple. And I must tell you, if I would have known that only 5% of our network would have been made up out of that, there's no way in hell we would have dumped the kind of money into this that we did to develop the iOS to begin with. It just wouldn't have made sense. So anyway, having it developed already, if they do lift that restriction, we might be able to turn it back on. But at this point, we've set it aside. We just can't go down that rabbit hole any further. We've got to focus on what we know is working. And we know the network that we've got works really, really well. It's working for us, it's working for our clients, and it's working for a lot of you guys that are running sitepop. That said, there are a few of you that it's not working for. And there's some really good reasons on most points of why that is. If you have a site that is not ranking at all, nor does it have any reason to rank, sitepop may or may not fix that. And when I say it may or it may not, search signals alone might do it in certain niches. But if you're in any kind of a competitive niche and you have no on-page optimization and you've got no link building and you've got a whole bunch of competitors that are doing all that and they've already got traction and all of that, all that's being said, then you're probably going to have a rough go. It's not going to happen overnight. It's certainly not going to happen in 30 days. So, common sense applies here. This is SEO. All the old stuff still applies. You still need to have a site rank for you to be able to boost it. Sitepop is a boosting software. It's not an all-in-one. It's not going to do your on-page SEO for you. It's not going to create schema. It's not going to do all of that. What it does is it fills in that big chunk of SEO that most everybody's missing. And that's the user signals. That's the brand recognition. That's the connection of brand to keyword. That's really the gold and the magic behind it. The reason that if everything else is equal, if you're up against competitors and you're doing the same kind of on-page and the same kind of off-page optimization, and they're clearly beating you, I can almost guarantee you the reason why is because they have brand recognition. They are a bigger brand, they're known, they've got searches coming in, connecting their name to keywords naturally. And that's why they're beating you. That's where sitepop comes in, and it can turn you into the underdog. It can make you the hero. So again, if you use it for what it's meant to be used for, it works phenomenally. So I'm hoping to have Chris hop in here because he did the analysis just last night, and he was like doing backflips over the results. And I was hoping he could come on here and share that with you guys. But again, when we look, it's like the people that are getting the great results, they're using it right. They're using it the way that I taught them to use it. They're going in, they are using like SEMrush or doing keyword research and looking and seeing where they're currently ranked, and they're using it to boost. Like keywords they're on the second, third, fourth, even fifth page. That tells us if you rank on any one of those pages, it tells us right there that Google's recognized you. They know that you're there, and they're just not quite paying attention to you because they're paying attention to the people that have the user signals. So then you can come and you can join the party. Here's another really key point that I want to make. And it's about the make it till you break it, or not make it till you break it, the fake it till you make it, and then what happens after you make it. So any kind of SEO is fake it till you make it. You're faking the search engines out to send you real traffic. Sitepop is no different. We're sending our users to fake it until you make it. Now, here lies the problem. What happens if we send you enough signals and you do make it to the first page, you make it to the top results, now Google starts sending you real traffic. Okay. Can you see what's happening now? You are either going to get a positive snowball effect. If you give a good user experience, the users that Google sends is going to send the same type of signals back that Sitepop sent. If your site is crappy and your site doesn't inspire someone to stay, and it causes them to bounce, or it causes them to not stay long and then leave, what's happening is we're sending the good signals that got you up there and gave you a shot, and you're sending crap signals back telling Google it's a bad idea for you to send your traffic here. You just shot yourself in the foot. So I really, really encourage you guys to fix your sites, make your sites compelling. I've done several different SEMrush trainings using SEMrush to show you how to find out what your customers are interested in and the content you should be providing for them. That stuff is really important in the SEO game today. Conversion should be really important to you. It's not just about traffic. Nobody wants traffic. They want customers. They want conversions. The traffic is what drives the people there to make that happen. If you have no ability to convert on your site, no ability to keep their interest or get them to opt in or do anything like that, the traffic's just a waste of time. It always has been. That will never change. So, you know, SEO is a little piece of a business. It's a little piece of a business model. If you don't have a sales process, or they call it a funnel nowadays online, if you don't have an effective way to take new visitors and grab their attention and pull them in and intrigue them to consume your content, and get them to want your products and make purchases or whatever you want them to do when they're on your site. If you don't have that ability, I could drive you all the traffic in the world and it's still going to fail. It's just going to become expensive traffic. So I really just want to make sure that resonates with you guys. I mean, that is truly what the SEO game has become. It's about providing a good user experience. We're here to help you fake it till you make it, but once you're there, you got to deliver the goods. Here's another thing that I've seen that will help. Actually, this will break sitepop. If you have pop-up windows on your site, like let's say somebody comes to your site and they're scrolling around your site and a very intrusive pop-up window pops up. Sitepop doesn't know how to deal with that. So you just killed the process. What you've also done is you've probably alienated your visitor as well with that stuff. Now, if you have a pop-up when somebody clicks the back button or they try and leave your site, they try and close it out, that's okay. That's different. But just a user browsing your site to have you pop something up in front of them, that just pisses them off. You know, that's very intrusive. It's rude. You wouldn't do that in the real world. You wouldn't, you know, somebody walked into your store and they were actively engaged in, you know, in looking at something. You wouldn't just jump up in front of them and say, hey, look at this thing or you can't go on. They'd look at you like you were a freak and they'd walk out. And that's what you're doing online. I guarantee you, anything that works in the real world works online. Anything that doesn't work in the real world doesn't work online. So create processes, create systems that follow and mirror and match stuff that works in the real world. You know, that's not how it's done. So if you have pop-ups, intrusive pop-ups, when a viewer is consuming your content, I would seriously urge you to get rid of them. They're not good. You think they are, but they're not. Now, if somebody leaves, again, that's a different story. But it's going to break sitepop. So if you've got those and you're not getting results, that's why sitepop's just clicking through, but it can't go anywhere from there. So, all right. So let's see. Ted starts off with Safari, the problem with the iPhones. No, Safari wasn't the issue. It was much deeper than that. They're actually blocking any apps from running in the background. They will not allow an app to run in the background. That's, again, it's absolutely ludicrous. It's stupid on their part. But like I said, they're not business minded. They are much more art related here. Okay, let me see. I'm just looking through the questions here. Will the Android version run on Amazon Fire tablets? I don't really know the answer to that, but if it's the newer version of an Android, then it probably should. One of the things that we did find with tablets, and this is almost the same issue with the iPhones, a lot of tablets are set from the factory to not run background processes so they don't chew up battery usage. Now, that said, our Android app for sitepop has very little battery usage. Like, I run it on my phone and on different apps all the time, and I've not seen any kind of drain on the battery because of it. But by default, a lot of them put that in there. So what you would have to do is you'd have to go into your settings, and again, I don't know offhand exactly how to do this. It's probably different on a lot of different devices. But you'd have to turn it on so the devices can run in the background so they're not being shut down all the time. Anyway, if you have an Android on any kind of tablets or anything like that, as long as it's connecting, the app is working, and you get the functionality to run it in the background while it's not, you know, up visible on the screen, you should have no problem. And like I said, again, you do not have to have these connected to service, to cell service. As long as it's connected with Wi-Fi, that's just fine. Okay, what is the minimum Android operating system? Again, I'm not really, Chris does all of our back-end tech stuff. I think it's like version 8. We did put on the site, if you go into the Q&A section in the members area, we put up something. One of the users actually did a test, and he ran some studies on different devices, and we put up what he found, his findings as far as which devices it would run on, which versions of Android. So you might check that. Check that to see what's up. Now, that was before the update, though. I know the team had to force an update on all the Android devices because they did some major updates and overhauls for scheduling. This was for scheduling how many searches went out, the schedule time, because we had some issues there when we were scrambling a couple of months ago, scrambling to try and keep up with the OS updates. Our sequencing got out of whack, our scheduling for who was getting searches. We had some projects that were getting more searches than they should. We were having others that were getting less than they should. That's all been kind of resolved now. In fact, we just did an analysis of our network and what we have in the network, and some people have put extra additional devices in like we asked them to. And what that has done for us is it has made our network big enough now that we don't need 3 devices per project anymore, which is a huge win. So when you look at the fact that we've eliminated the iOS devices, we're now going to reduce the number of devices per project that you need to get the searches. So we're making up big time for it on that aspect. And Chris was not able to tell me if we could do it yet, but very, very soon, we're going to be able to take it to 1 device per project. So you'll be able to get 500 searches off a single device, and that will be a game changer. So that being the case, you could literally just go down to Walmart or Target, buy an Android phone for your client for 20 to 50 bucks, send it to them. Just configure it, package it up, mail it to them, say plug this in your office, connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. So very, very easy, simple solution and very cheap. You know, if you've got a client that's paying you, you know, $97, $197, $297 a month, and the service is costing you $4, I think you can afford 20 to 50 bucks for each customer to get them set up. That's a really good investment. Now, when you do that, you send them an actual phone to check their results, they're going to probably feel really good about it. They're going to see a huge value there. They're going to go, wow, this is, you know, there's a equipment investment here for them to do this for me, and they provided it. So that is really going to boost the way they look at you and the way they look at that service, make it a lot more valuable. So anyway, that's something to consider as well. Okay, Daniel wants to know, do searches on the Windows platform show up as desktop searches or mobile searches? I am not totally sure about that, but I think they probably should show up as desktop searches if it's coming from the Windows or coming from the Mac devices. There has also been, this has been kind of an issue in the background of the software that it's taken a long time to really kind of iron out because we were so focused on other functionality. We were not focused on the reporting functionality. We were focused on the actual ranking functionality. So there's been a lot of issues with our reports. Some people have, you know, they send in a ticket and they say, you know, all of my searches are coming from desktop devices, or all of my searches are coming from one IP. That was strictly a mistake in the reporting. It was an inaccurate report. When Chris goes in and he looks at the stuff on the database, on the data server, he can see what's really going on. So those were just, you know, reporting errors coming back and being fed back to your back office. So if that's the case, if that was, you know, the reason behind that question, just know that that was the problem, and I think that might still be going on. I don't know if that has actually been solved or not. Jonathan, where do we find past recordings? It's in the members area, so it's not in your back office. We have two logins for sitepop. We have the back office, which is where you set up your projects, and then we have the actual members area where we have the training, the Q&As, all of that stuff. So if you're in the back office and you're looking for the other one, I believe if you go to support, let me look at it here real quick and see what the button is. Give me just a sec. Okay, it's training. So if you're in the back office, you click on the training button, and there is a link on the training page there to get to the members area. If you don't have the login for that, you can go ahead. You can send a support ticket in, and you can get the login, or you can just request a password reset. That will work as well. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so as far as SEMrush, are you able to make a deal for us? Unfortunate enough to join after October 1st. I am working on that. I actually got an email from them this morning. I was trying to push them for me to be able to get you guys the guru status for the pro price, like what they had before. They were unwilling to do that right now because they just made the shift, but my guy, they want me to do training for them. So I've got a little bit of leverage here. They're wanting me to do some AI training on how to use SEMrush in conjunction with AI for SEO. So we are negotiating that right now, and part of my negotiation is they do something special for our members. So yes, I am actively working on that. My goal is to push them to give us the guru level at the pro price. That's what I'm shooting for. I wasn't able to pull it off on the first round, but they did say they were willing to give me some discount codes for anybody that gets in after October 1st. I just don't know what the discount's going to be yet. So if you haven't bought SEMrush yet, you didn't get in before the October 1st thing, you might hold off because they might be able to get you a better deal. If you buy it, they're not really big on, you know, having you cancel and then sign up again for a better deal. They don't like that too much. So if you haven't got it yet, kind of hold off. I'll see what I can do for you, and we'll get that cooking. Okay, let's see. Yeah, if you've already got SEMrush, the links to the training again are up in there. I will check that too. I'll check to make sure that that's the case. If they're not, I know I put them into my SEO Dominator membership, but if they're not up in the sitepop membership, I'll make sure that I put them up there too for you guys. Okay. Okay, Mike Tucker's asking, does that include Facebook Messenger pop-ups that occur in the lower right-hand corner? Okay, here's what I know about the pop-ups. What will affect the sitepop is if the pop-up comes up and you have to click the pop-up to continue. If you don't have to click the pop-up to continue, then it doesn't bother it. Like if you're getting instant messages down in the bottom right corner, that's not an issue because the page is still active. The browser can still scroll the page and click through on the page. What I'm referring to is like the big box that pops up and says, you know, don't leave yet, click here to do something. You have to click the button to literally continue on the page. That was the one that I was referring to. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked, any price adjustment for this? I'm not sure what you're referring to as this. Pricing adjustments. Yeah, I'm not sure. If you can clarify that a little bit more, I can address that. Okay, is sitepop good on a brand new website? Yes, it is, because a brand new website doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means Google maybe hasn't caught up yet. Obviously, when you put up a brand new website, Google has to validate it. They have to not only validate it, they have to evaluate it to make sure if it's worth putting at the top. So having search signals to a new website is a good thing. You also want to make sure that you've got links to it. You want to make sure that you have your titles correct, you have your descriptions correct, you've got, if you have H1 tags, all the basic SEO on page stuff should be in play. When you put up a new site, all that stuff should be just first nature to do that first and make sure the site is prepared. You don't want to send a garbage site to Google to evaluate. Make sure it's got good stuff on it. Okay, let's see. Mike says, sorry, I had to take a call. If you answered my question about Facebook. No, I think I just got that for you, Mike. Anyway, if not, it's just a couple minutes back. It'll be a couple minutes back on the recording there. Okay. Okay, let's see. Carolyn, I purchased SEMrush right at the deadline. Awesome. They're telling me I need to pay for a year to get all the special info. I don't think that's true. They have an annual price where they give you a discount, but you can also get SEMrush by the month. And my understanding was anybody that bought before October 1st, before that deadline, that their content would be locked in, and anybody after that would have to go up to the guru level to get the other stuff that was in the pro level before. So the content stuff, content research and all that stuff, that's what they changed. They moved that from the pro level up to only being available for the guru level. Now, I've been on the pro level for a long time. I was actually one of their beta testers, and they locked my price in. I only paid 49 bucks a month for SEMrush, and everything is still in there. They did one of these things about 2 or 3 years ago where they did the same thing, and they upped it, and they actually did remove a couple of things out of it that I had in there originally, like the white label reporting. They moved that up into the guru level. So they did take that away from me. That's been a couple of years ago. But so far they've been true to their word. They have not taken the content research away. It's still in the pro level as far as I know for anybody that purchased it prior to October 1st. But it's, you might check with them. I don't think that they should be forcing you to buy a year's worth. That doesn't sound right. If that is the question, let me know, and I'll put that to one of my contacts and see if I can get that squared away for you. Just send me an email on that one. Okay, let's see. Okay, Scott was sorry I had to step away when I was talking about the smartphones. What phones do you recommend that we buy at Walmart or Target? Okay, so let me look here. I have a user that just did this. He just sent this info in. And okay. So there's one called the LG Phoenix 4 at Target or Walmart. And there's also one called a TCL A1. That is a cheaper one. I think that's a track phone. And anyway, the prices they're quoting here, one of them is quoted at $43.09, and the other one is at $26.81. I'm not sure which was which as far as the pricing goes, but basically any new Android phone should work. If you have a question on that, go into the Q&A section in the members area, and one of our users actually documented. They bought a bunch of different devices, and they documented which ones had issues and which ones didn't. And that's in the Q&A in the membership portion. But to me, I would think that any current Android device being sold Now you might have to, when you get the brand new device, you might have to run updates to make sure that it's all up to date, but you should be able to download the Marketing Assistant app to it. When you go to the App Store, just type in Marketing Assistant, and now there's a couple of them, so look for the one with the little blue light bulb. That's ours, Marketing Assistant. It probably says published by James Ormiston, which is that's our programmer. So anyway, look for that one, install it. It should work just fine. And if you bought it at Walmart or Target, they both have return policies. So if you get it, it doesn't work, you can just take it back and then get a different one. So once you figure out which one's working for you, then you can go back and you can stock up. But they do have limits. One of the things that somebody had reported to us was in store, if you actually walk into a Walmart or a Target, they're going to have limits. They might let you only buy 2 devices per day. And I think Target was 1 device per day. It was one or the other. I don't remember which one, but one of them would only let you buy 1 of each, and the other one would let you buy 2 of each. So anyway, check that out, Walmart or Target. There's one of those on just about every corner. So you should have no problem finding devices. And like I said, very soon we're going to be able to loosen up the restrictions on this and only require 1 device per project. So that right there is going to make up way more than what we gave up by giving up the iOS devices. So that's going to come back and kind of level the playing field. You guys should be really, really excited about that. That changes everything for our network. That tells us also that now the network has grown to the size where it's pretty much unstoppable. We're in awesome mode right now. And the results are showing it. Results are proving it. If you haven't gotten good results yet, take a look at some of those factors that I mentioned earlier on this call. And also, if you just don't know what's going on, let us know. I'm happy to go in and review your sites for you. I can take a look around. Sometimes it'll be real obvious to me what the issue is or what you need to do, how you need to swap it up. And I'm happy to do that for you guys. I'm here for you, all the time doing that. So let me know. It's really important to us that you guys are successful. We need this network to grow and build and just become unstoppable. That's what it's all about. Okay, here's Carolyn. Okay, clarification. I signed up at the deadline. They're telling me I need to pay for a year to get all the special training and information. Okay, that might be something different. That might be, they might have been throwing additional stuff because it says special training and information. So they might have had some kind of a bonus on there. But the thing that's important in SEMrush is access to the content tools. That's the thing where they took that out. They took that out of the Pro version and moved it to Guru only. So if you've got that, you should be set. That's really the only piece that you need. I think the training and all that, the training, a lot of their training in there is the kind of, all over the board, really basic stuff. So I wouldn't be real concerned with that. Okay, let's see. Jonathan asks, okay, what do we do if our users only have iOS devices? And I've kind of talked about that several times throughout the call here. If they only have an iOS device, and that seems to be a stumbling block, just go on down to Walmart or Target and buy them what they need. Pre-program it, just ship it to them. Say, hey, connect this, plug this in, put it in the back of your office somewhere and connect it to Wi-Fi and let her rip. That's really all you need to do. It's a very small investment. Like I said, you can buy these Android devices now for between 20 and 50 bucks. If you're charging that client, you should be charging that client, anywhere from, some people are charging like 97 bucks a month. Some people are charging $297, $397, and even higher. If that's the case, the service is only costing you $4 a month. You know, you got 50 of them for 200 bucks. So at at $4 a month for the actual cost of the service, I think you can afford to spend 20 to 40 bucks to buy them a phone so they can run this. It shouldn't be a big deal. You know, you could even run them in your own office if you wanted to. But I would really recommend that if you're buying a phone for the benefit of a customer, send it to them. You know, send it to them and just say, hey, this is part of the service. We need you to have this at your facility, plugged in, connected to Wi-Fi. And, you know, that's going to give them a warm and fuzzy feeling because you bought them a phone. You know, you can tell them, hey, plug it in and use it if you want. It just needs to be connected all the time. You know, that's a pretty good bonus gift. You could actually put that as a bonus if they sign a year contract with you. You know, if they're going to sign a contract with you for 97 bucks for a month for a year, that's $1,200. I think you can afford to buy a $50 phone if you had to. So that's, you know, that's just part of the game. It's part of the cost. You know, this is SEO. It's, you know, it's always evolving, changing, and it's never been cheap. You know, you pay more than that. If you're buying links, I guarantee you, you're paying way more than the price of that phone for one good quality link. So let's be real about this. It's not a big deal. The idea that we had to take the iOS devices out is not a big deal. Like I said earlier, it was only 5% of our entire network. And had I known going into it that that was all it was going to be, we would have never sunk the money into it that we did, that we had to even get it to work for the short time that it did. It doesn't make sense. Okay, let's see. Ted says in the pricing there are two ways to buy, monthly or yearly. Yeah, that's right. With SEMrush, I believe on the yearly they give you a better break, so you can do it that way. Okay, yeah, Carolyn, do let me know if you have an issue. I can talk to somebody over there for you and see what I can do. Okay, let's see. Okay, would you say that having 4 or 5 devices connected will ensure stability, being sure the daily dose is received, or is it overdoing it? No, the more devices that you connect, the bigger the network gets, the stronger the network gets, and the more varied the network gets. But when you connect a particular device, in the back end, we have functionality in place that basically that will allot a certain amount of searches for that project. So the fact that you connect 5 versus 3 doesn't mean that you're for sure going to get that amount or anything like that. What I would do, if you had more devices than you needed to connect, I would connect them to another project and do it that way, or just connect them just for the sake of growing the network and making the network big and strong and healthy. That is appreciated from our standpoint. If you've got extra phones, you know, plug them in, let them just do their thing to provide for the network. But you don't really need them. Now in the agency version, that answer could change, because in the agency version you can allot more searches per project. You have the flexibility to say, I would like 1,000 searches for this project at this time. And with that, in the past, you'd have to connect 6 devices to get 1,000 searches. Like I said, in the agency version, you can do that. You have that flexibility. On the basic and the pro, it's just set to 500 per project. So if you want more, you could just set up a second project. The agency is flexible. You can change that number. Like I said earlier, we're very close to being able to loosen that up to where it doesn't require 3 devices per project. We're going to move it to 2 pretty much immediately, and then the possibility that we'll be able to move it down to 1 device per project is very high likelihood that we'll be able to do that very soon here, probably in the next month or so. So at that point, truly is a game changer. You know, 1 device per project and away you go. So you buy a device for 20 to 50 bucks, plug it in, and your project runs. So again, there's really good stuff that, you know, everybody put on the doom and gloom hat when we lost the iOS devices. It was not that big a deal. What we've got coming up is going to make up for it tenfold. So again, you know, hang in there. Don't freak out when bad stuff happens. This is the SEO game. It's, you know, it's been that way since the beginning. You do something and it gets taken away. You do something, it gets taken away. Overall, you know, we're going to win enough battles to win the war. That's the thing about it. Okay, can you put the names of the cheap phones in the chat? Yeah, I can do that. Let me copy them out over here. I'll copy out the info that was sent to me so you guys have it. Okay, there you go. I just pasted it in there. It says $43.09 for LG Phoenix 4 at Target or Walmart, and $26.81 for TCL A1 at Walmart. Walmart has a limit of 2 per customer per day. Target has a limit of 1 per customer per day. I don't know if that's 1 of each or 1 of both. I'm not really sure on that, but anyway, that's the info. Okay, Patrick, wanted to update you on my domain disappearing. I went from 2 keywords to 6 to 8 keywords as you suggested. My domain is back and ranking well. All right, awesome. That is great news, Patrick. Patrick is a perfect example. Something wasn't going right for him. He reached out to me. I took a look, made recommendations. Now it's working. So thank you for that, Patrick. That is really cool. And for anybody else, you know, if you just have a question or something, we do these Q&As, but you know, if you really think you got issues, let me know. I'm happy to take a look at it for you. Okay, I want to know what you mean by $4 a month for the service. I'm referring to our white label version. Basically, you've got 50 projects for $197. So what that breaks down to is it's about $4 a project. So in the white label version, it's really meant to be sold as a reseller type item. So the service is costing you $4. You're reselling it to your client for $97, $197, whatever you're reselling it for. So you have a massive markup opportunity in selling the sitepop as a service. We sell it that way to a lot of our customers as a local SEO boost service. So, and it doesn't even have to be local. It could just be an SEO boost service, because that's really what it's all about. If you go back and listen to the beginning of the call, we covered a lot of that stuff there too. Okay, let's see. Could it be considered to have an app that can be handled out or handed out to people, and where the users do not necessarily need the SEO at all? Yeah, absolutely. That is, we had talked about that early on. Like if you were involved in some sort of a charitable outfit and you wanted to buy cheap phones and, you know, hook them up, connect them, and then give them away to people that can't afford to have phones, or phones for kids or whatever. Absolutely, you could connect that. All you'd have to do is connect a particular project, put a particular project code in the phone, so on the back end you had access to change it. So you could take that project code and you could just connect it to any one of your projects and change that up anytime you wanted to do it. So the phone's out in the world, it's running, it's doing its thing, it has a particular project code. You just match the code on the project to match, and you got a connection. So that's a really good way to do that. Also, you know, if you've got people in your family, man, I mean, think about it. Christmas is coming. You can go down to Walmart, Target, and buy these phones for, you know, under 50 bucks. Give it to all of your nieces and nephews and you know, family members. Give them all, hey, free phones this year. Awesome. And just pre-configure it before you hand it over to them. Then just tell them, you know, hey, there's an app on there. That's my app. Please leave it running. Just don't delete it. That's that would be a really cool thing to do. Okay, if we connect a phone, do we need to have a project attached to add to the network? No, actually, once you put the phone in the network, it's part of the network anyway, even before you attach a project code to it. So you do not have to have a project code connected to it. You could just, turn on it, put the app in, and let it rip. Okay, let's see. I am not seeing the phones you posted in the chat. What you might have to do is go, I see it here, it says out to everybody. Oh, sorry about that. It says to all panelists. Sorry about that. Let me do it again. I will do all panelists and attendees. Okay, there you go. So now it's out to attendees, so you guys should be able to see it. Okay, apologize for that little snafu on my part. Okay. Okay. Will you let us know when you reduce the phones per project? Yes, absolutely. The minute that happens, you guys are going to be the first to know. Okay, let's see. Do you recommend doing brand name searches as well? Okay, here's the thing. When you put your brand in, this is something that's going to happen. If the search runs and it doesn't come up, it's going to go back and it's going to add your brand anyway. So you should be getting some brand searches, just by default. That said, brand searches are really good. So there's nothing wrong with you putting brand search in the actual search phrase. Typically, your brand search should come up anyway, so it won't have to go back and connect the brand to it because it's already ranking. It should already be ranking for that. So that's a good thing. You can also make your own connectors. You can, and what I mean by connectors is you can put the brand connection to your keyword. Like if you've got a product X, for instance, you could say a keyword could be product X by brand Z. You could put that as a keyword phrase, and Google's going to run that. Hopefully you come up for that because it's so specific only to you, and then away you go. So that's a really good way to do that, because part of the magic here is brand connection to keywords. That is a really big part of this. The other thing that I wanted to mention, just for the sake of throwing it out there, is something that I observed on my Internet Dominators site. I've never really tried to rank that site. It's my company site, but I get my business off other sites and stuff like that. So I never really did much as far as SEO with that. But I took my old limboland.net domain and I put it on top of it. I 301 redirected it over there, and it had a ton of old content and old links from days past that has been gone for years, but that site was still recognized and ranking for all the stuff out of that commerce store, which it was a mall. Limboland.net ran a shopping mall, so it had everything in there from scrapbook scissors to military equipment. It was like there was a couple hundred stores with thousands and, in fact, tens of thousands of items and products. So that domain ranked for all kinds of stuff. When I 301 redirected it over, it almost destroyed my Internet Dominators site because there was so much signals for all that other stuff that Google no longer knew what Internet Dominators was. It thought it was a scrapbooking store. So here I'm ranking for all these different scrapbook papers and crap, and that stuff didn't even exist. The pages weren't even there. It's like, how dumb is Google, right? And I did some quality link building. I did, a few different things to try and get rid of that stuff. and it just never would go away. After running sitepop for about 4 months, it's completely cleaned it up. Now Google knows what Internet Dominators is about and ranks it appropriately. So all that stuff that's irrelevant is all gone now. It disappeared. And I'd been trying to get rid of that stuff for years. So it literally fixed it for me. So, okay, let's see. Okay. Gear says both Amazon and eBay have cell phones sold in bulk, and some deals are definitely down to $15 per phone. Absolutely, that's a great way to go. I know some people are a little leery about buying stuff online still. If that's the case, just literally walk into Target or Walmart and take advantage of their return policy. You know, you might have I know Fry's went out of business, but there's still big electronics stores too that you can walk into. And in fact, Costco, I'm pretty sure Costco sells this stuff too. And, you know, they're really good on their return policies as well. So lots of places, there's lots of places to get these phones really cheap. And this really should not be an issue going on moving forward. Okay, Cedric says, if my customer runs ads on Google, sitepop, basically will sitepop click on the ads or not? No, it does not click on the ads. The ads and the organic are two different things. The ads are basically placed through an ad network space, and it's not considered organic. So sitepop is smart enough to know it's only looking for organic listings. It's looking for like listing number 1 through whatever, 40 or 50, I think it goes to. So those ads do not show up as a number 1 or 2 or 3. They show up as 1, 2, or 3 in the ad block, but not in the organic. So no worries on that. It's not going to be clicking your ads, costing you money there. Okay, Gear says, outside of sitepop, do you offer any kind of courses in SEO? There's a ton of courses in SEO out there. Unfortunately, most of them are out of date, and a lot of them that were even sold years ago weren't even in date at that time when they sold them. I've been teaching SEO, and you know, I've got a whole group of resellers that resell our commercial SEO services, and I've been training people on SEO since around 2008. It started off as what I called an SEO boot camp, which was an 8-week course that turned into a much longer thing, which is actually still going on today. I do weekly calls every week answering questions about SEO and now any kind of marketing, funnel building, conversion, pretty much covers everything. So I do offer that. That's part of my Internet Dominator package. It gives access to all my trainings, my SEO training, my marketing training, and it also gives that ongoing mentorship. And I do that really cheap. The ongoing membership and mentorship, whatever you want to call it, support system, it's kind of like you've got me here like this, live every week for anything you need, and it's under 30 bucks a month. So it's quite a deal, to be honest with you. I can send out, I'm going to do a special on that typically it's like $2 grand to get into those programs, get access to all the trainings and everything. I'm going to do a special coming up, a Black Friday special, and I'll send it out to you guys early if you want to jump in on it, but it'll give you access to everything for like 99 bucks. And then you can get into that under $30 a month thing where you're supported ongoing. So you can ask anything you want about SEO, and I'm pretty much on top of it. So I can help you out with just about anything. Okay, Ahmed, is there a good way to find out if we're ranking for the good keyword correct down the road in the sitemap? Okay, here's the deal with the rankings. Different parts of the country and different parts of the world are going to display different rankings. In fact, people are going to get different rankings from phone to phone or from computer to computer. Google has gotten really smart at anticipating the AI, what people use, what people want, what people need. So it's making recommendations. The search results, if you don't realize this or not, it's a recommendation. Google is now trying to anticipate the intent of the searcher. So not everyone's going to get the same results. So keyword ranking it's always been a difficult thing because of that. Most people didn't realize that was actually a real deal, but it is. It always has been. I've done tests on this, like that weekly call that I do. I've done tests many times. I have people all over the world, and I'll say, hey, okay, I want everybody to run this particular search right now and tell me what number it is. We'd have some of them at the top of page 1, and we'd have some of them that weren't even there, 10 pages deep. So when you see the rank on the sitepop app, on the Marketing Assistant app, when it shows your rank, it's showing you what page you're on. Now, it's showing you based on the last search from the last device that ran that search where it found you. So if that search runs and Joe in Idaho found you on the first page, it's going to come up number 1. Now a half hour later, Sally in New York runs the same search. Boom, she finds you on page 2. So now, it's number 2 now. So it will bounce around. And what we found, the longer you go and the more solid the results become because of the actions on the outside, the more your ranking will stabilize. It will stabilize and tend to stick a lot longer. But in the beginning, a lot of times rank bounces around. It does not stick. It's really hard to get SEO ranking to stick in the beginning. So it bounces up and down and all over the place until Google finally is convinced, okay, these guys are real. Let's give them a permanent slot. It's almost like a tryout. You're trying out for the team, and you're going to get roughed up before you really deserve your spot on the team. Okay, let's see. Jay wants to know if we can put the Internet Dominator link here now instead of Black Friday. Yeah, I'll do that for you guys. Let me pull this up here, see if I can even find it. I have to figure out what the link is. I haven't really started working on it yet, but all right. Let me go back to my pages. I will eventually find it for you here. Give me just a second. Man, I got a lot of pages. This is always the problem, to try and find something. Okay. And I will also, once I do find it, I'll find it here in a second and I'll paste it in the box. But I will also send this out for you guys in an email so everybody has it. Okay, I think I got it. Here we go. All right, it's a 72-hour sale. So when you're ready for it, click the link. If you're not ready for it, just paste the link into a document or something, because that sale, when you hit that, it's going to start a timer for 72 hours. So whenever you hit it, you got 72 hours to take the deal. So there it is, and it's allowing you in to get everything for 99 bucks. And then that puts you into that mentorship program for $29.97 a month. So, all right, I think we're to the end of the questions here. If anybody has got a question, go ahead and come on out here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Gare wants a on-screen demonstration of SEMrush. I can do that. Paste the domain into the chat box there, and I will pull it up. Okay, so I'm just going to log into my SEMrush account here. And I'll share my screen. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. And then go ahead and put your domain in the chat box there, and I'll take a look at it for you. Or if anybody else wants to. Whoever gets their domain in the chat box first, I guess, will get the prize. Okay, so we got a debtchronicles.com. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, put that in, run the search. Okay, so basically you've got 10 keywords here. Not a lot going on, 51 backlinks. Not a tremendous amount going on here. And the fact that this is a debt site, Debt Chronicles, I would say it's pretty darn competitive. Your links here, you have 51 links, and every one of them, 100% is follow links. So that's a little unnatural right out of the gate. It's not natural for 100% of your links to be no follow unless you only had 2, then you might get away with it. But when you start getting 50, over 50, and it's 100%, that to Google looks, that's like on the fishy radar. So I would be careful of that. They're all 100% text links. The more of the stuff you can vary to Google, the better you are. And again, this isn't part of their AI. This is part of their base algorithm I'm looking at here now. Okay, so here's backlinks, top anchors. The fact that you've got your biggest top anchor is your domain name, that's a good thing. That's not over-optimized. You should actually mix that up though. You should take the HTTPS off and just do the domain, mix it with www, you know, mix that thing up. Like you have a mix here. Okay, so you already do have that. So you've got here with a slash, without a slash, without the HTTP. So that's a good thing for any of you guys that are doing this. You want to mix your anchor text. Your anchor text should be, and this is a perfect example of somebody starting out with optimization. You're doing what you should be doing. You've got your brand name, you've got your you know, your domain names, and then you've got your exact match keyword. You just need a lot more variation here. You need like instead of just debt advice, you might want to increase that into a longer tail keyword that's a little easier to rank to get started. Because when you start off in SEO, you're really starting at ground zero. So if you're shooting for a big time keyword from ground zero, you got a long climb. You just put a big mountain in front of yourself. So rather than trying to create a 10-foot wall to climb over, find the 2-foot fences you can just step over and keep on going. That's what you want to look for there. Okay, so back to, this is like one of my favorite things to do here is hit the full view report for the keywords and see the whole enchilada here, what you're ranking for. Now this is not, I don't want you guys to think that this is 100% accurate because it's not. You might find that you rank for more keywords than this, especially specific brand keywords. But this is from their database. They track, you know, like 8 billion keywords, so it's pretty good. Okay, so this is interesting. This is a debt relief program a good idea? See, it says new there. That's a keyword you never ranked for before. You're now on the board at number 91. It'll also show you ups and downs. So one of the things that I've seen in running sitepop is what happens is you get a lot more of these new keywords because Google starts recognizing you for things and then it starts testing you with other variations of it. So for the most of these, you're back pretty far. You know, this one you're on number 48, so you're on page 5. How do I dispute a debt? Here's one you're on page or number 44 and number 36. So some of those, and then it relates here to the actual page that is ranking. So what you could do, you could go back to this page and just check and make sure that if this is not your title, you might want to change your title to be that, and you could rank better just on that fact alone. So anyway, you've got all of your, all of your pages here. So you want to go back and make sure that that page has that keyword in the title. That will help you. Okay. Okay, so EJ says it was on page 4 for how to dispute the debt, but then it fell to page 8 after I bombed it with sitepop. My mistake. Okay, so cool. So and that's perfectly fine. When you bomb it with something, it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. It obviously didn't hurt you in the long run. Sometimes Google will temporarily drop you when you do that. Like anytime we start doing SEO for a client, it almost never fails. They take some sort of a drop in somewhere in the first 6 months. Depending on how aggressive we are, sometimes it'll take the drop in the first week. You just never know when that's going to happen. But I always tell everybody, when that does happen, don't change course. Keep doing what you're doing just like it never happened, just like you were never watching. Remember the thing, dance like nobody's watching. Just keep on dancing. Just keep on doing it. And if you don't change, Google will eventually come to the conclusion that, oh, well, that we toyed with them and it didn't affect them, so it must be real. If they toy with you and you change because of that, then you just told them, oh, okay, sorry, I did something wrong. Now they know you're optimizing. So now they know how to keep you on their radar. So that's something to look at. Okay, Don says, I have a project set up over 8 days ago. 2 phones attached to the project. There's been no search yet. Okay, here's something to look at. There's a run button. Once you set up a project, it's not in run mode yet. So make sure, and I don't know that this is the case. I'd have to look. If you send in a support ticket, we can look at it individually for you. But make sure when you set up a project that you click the run button, whether you have devices connected or not, because that'll put it into the run mode. Then you can actually get searches for it. If you've got it in the run mode and it's still not getting searches, and you've connected devices and they're connected, definitely let us know, because there's been, sometimes there's just some oddball issue that we need to address. So don't let it run out too long. If it's been in that case for more than a few days, certainly let us know. But don't report something like within the hour. If you don't see something show up within the hour, the scheduling process takes a while. It can take a day or two to get in or out of a schedule. Some people had said they stopped a project, but they still kept getting searches. It's because those searches were queued. They might flow out over the next few days. So you might still see searches coming in after you've stopped a project. So that's perfectly natural. So anyway, but certainly if you've got it over a week and something's not doing its thing, definitely let us know about that, because there might be something wrong and we might need to address it individually. But for the most part, the stuff's been pretty solid now for the last few weeks. Okay, let's see. Okay, Brett wants to know, are allocated unused searches saved so we can use them in the future? There really isn't any saving of searches. The network is just running live all the time. It's not like these searches are like allocated. They're just used and dispensed off the network as needed. So if you've got a project running and you've got certain devices connected to it, that's when these searches actually get allocated to go out. So it's not like you're storing them up. You have a certain amount for the month that are there and available, and if you don't use them, there's really nothing to save, because you just get the same amount next month anyway. So that's kind of how that works. We've got another one here that came in to run, and I'll do this real quick for you guys. Okay, and it's Phoenix pain treatment. Again, this one might be, I don't know how many pain treatment places there are in Phoenix, but I know that particular term is probably pretty competitive. Okay, so here's a perfect thing here. Here's a perfect match. This probably started in June, you know, came up, went up, up, and now it hit the fall. The thing here is, again, don't change. Don't change what you're doing. This will come back, almost guaranteed. So 66 keywords here, 130 links. Again, that's not a lot of links, but certainly going. Okay, here's a perfect example. 117 follow and 13 no follow. So that's about, it's about 90-10. So when you roll over, it says 90%, 10%. That's much more natural than 100%. Again, here there's image links. 23% of the links are coming off images. Again, that looks natural versus the one we just looked at, which was 100 and 100, both ways. Okay, so here, I see this a lot. Empty anchors, your top one, 23 backlinks with empty anchors. What I believe that is I believe that is an anchor from an image that does not have an alt tag. So you might test that. You might see if those images that are linking have alt tags, and if not, put the alt tags in, and I think it might give you an anchor for your alt tags. Okay, facet joint injections, interventional pain management, visit website. Visit website, believe it or not, is a good anchor text to have because it's really generic and it's like something somebody would actually link to you with. But what I don't see here, Premier Pain Solution, that might be the brand, but I don't see any anchors with the domain in it, or this one does look like a brand, but it's only one. You know, 1 out of 100 of your, or actually 9 links from one domain. So anyway, you just want to get your anchor text, you want to get it varied. You want a lot of different variations of anchor text. Okay, so let's look at the full view here. Okay, Gare wants to know how you do links with no follow. It's just a tag. It's part of the link tag, and the tag for no follow is no follow. So if you go to Google and you just put in a Google search for how to do a no follow link, it'll give you the HTML coding, and you can copy it and you can replicate that. Okay, so here's one. There's where I said it would go up and down. That one's actually showing a down. So it was in position 84, or no, it was in 73. Now it's in 84. So it went down 11. So it's really cool when you see the green and they're all going up and you got new ones and all that stuff. But this is what I do. I look for stuff that's like an 8 here. Premier Pain Solutions, Phoenix, Arizona. That's in the number 8 slot. Problem here, there's only 20 people a month looking for it, so that's not a lot. Whereas here, you got Pain Management Scottsdale. You're in the number 78 position, but you got 170 people under the volume tab here. 170 people a month looking for that keyword. So again, you get that one up in the top 3, that'll move the needle for you. So I always look at, you know, which ones of these are getting the most searches and have the highest traction. Those are the ones we want to go for first. This would actually be a good one here. Pain Management, Phoenix, Arizona. You have 170 a month looking for it, and you're in the 64th spot. So you should be able to push that up. Here's a better one. Pain Management, Phoenix. You're in the 35 position. You got 480 people searching. So that's a good target right there. If that's not one of your keywords on sitepop, it should be. And that's here's another one. This is your actual premier pain solution. That's probably your domain or your brand. 390. So that's pretty good. If you got 390 people looking at you, that may actually have something to do with sitepop too. That may actually, that volume might be from sitepop doing that, which is good because that shows Google, hey, people know this brand. So good stuff there. All right, so I know we've been on here like almost an hour and a half. If I would be happy to go on and do these, but I think people probably want to get off, and I don't want this recording to go on for too long. So let's see. Okay, Ahmed says for e-commerce, a lot of keywords. How often can I run keywords and change them for new ones? You can change the keywords anytime you want. Not a problem with that. You can change them up, you know, every week, every month. I would probably let them run though until the ones that you've got actually move up into good slots, or maybe change a few of them out at a time. Not a problem there. Okay, so yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think I want to thank you guys for being on here and bringing your questions on here, and know that the future of this thing is very bright. This thing is awesome, and it's getting nothing more than more awesome. You know, it's getting more and more awesome all the time. You know, it's sounds kind of weird, but that's just the way it is. That's the way we feel about it. And please don't look at this iOS thing as the end of the world, because it's not. Like I said, it was only 5% of the network. It was not a big hit on our part at all. And the fact that you can buy these cell phones so cheap, and the fact that we're getting the network now where we can reduce the number that's required per project, we're headed in the right direction. So we got a win-win all the way around. So anyway, I truly appreciate you guys for hanging in this journey with us. Know that we are fighting for you on the back end every day. That's what we do. You guys are along for a really good ride. So thank you for taking the journey with us, and I'll do more of these and look forward to that. So have a great day, guys, and I appreciate y'all for being here. Thanks.